Ron Moshier, high school football. We've been following each week with Ron, and hard to believe. What weekend are we in now? Is this weekend 6?
No, we're coming up on weekend 7. This is the last game of the regular season for every class except Class A, where Whitesboro is. Whitesboro has 2 regular season games.
Right. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
all right. So
and they're coming off a tough loss. I don't know if you saw any of it, but it was on Spectrum Television Friday night. They led all the way until late in the fourth quarter when East Syracuse Manoa cut Whitesboro's lead to 26-25. They were lining up to kick the point after tying point, and Whitesboro is whistled for encroachment, so that's the 1.5-yard line, and ESM runs their 265-pound fullback for the winning 2-point conversion, 27-26.
Wow. That
was sort of a shocker for Whitesboro, a Whitesboro team that had, recently turned it around. So, that denied Coach Tom Shane his 271st career win, which would tie him with, Dodgeville legend Jerry Walzak for the most wins in Section 3 history. So that'll have to wait another week, but I'm not even sure if Fowler's won a game. That's who Whitesboro has this week. So I'm betting that'll be Shane's record-tying 271st win. But then Whitesboro ends the regular season hosting unbeaten and state-ranked Indian River, the following week in the last regular season game for Whitesboro. So that'll be a biggie.
You mentioned Dodgeville. It does seem that Dodgeville wins this weekend. Did they win over the weekend?
Oh yeah, they were ahead of Frankfort 46-0 at the half.
Wow.
Right. And that's a decent Frankfort team that is actually better than their record because they have Joe Streeter, one of the better running backs in the area, but he didn't play because of an injury. And Dodgeville, just steamrolled with Chase Dockstader, Devin Goranchek, Nick Bailey, Asen Kloss, the quarterback, has been around forever. I mean, weeks ago when we talked about football in the preseason, I just thought this Dodgeville team was going to be outstanding with so many seniors who had started since their sophomore year. And right now, I mean, they're on a roll going into their regular season finales this Saturday at home against West Canada Valley in the big rivalry game. So that's a game that I'll be writing about for tomorrow's paper.
And that is one of the older rivalries in the state, right? I mean, that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how long it dates back to, but let's face it, since state football playoffs began in 1993, our area has only had 2 state champions, and those are the 2.
Yeah.
Both in Class D, West Canada Valley and Dodgeville. So,
Ron,
it should be a good one, but West Canada played without their starting quarterback, star Matt Tobin, so I'll be writing about that matchup in tomorrow's paper. So looking ahead to the weekend.
Bill has a question for you, Ron. Bill, you're on with Ron Moshier. Go ahead.
Hello, Ron. You probably noticed, but I want to mention there's a girl playing for football for Cooperstown.
The girl who plays football for Cooperstown, yes. It's Julie Ford. She's about 6'1". She's an all-state basketball player for Cooperstown. Yeah, she's been on the roster the last couple of years. I don't know if she plays much, but from what I understand, she was on the second team, but she's still on. She still plays 8-man football for Cooperstown. I guess you have to say 8-player football for Cooperstown.
Yeah, right.
But no, Julie's a great basketball player who I believe has already committed to UAlbany to play.
Wow. There's also I didn't know that there was I think we've lost Bill there. I didn't know there was a girl playing football in Cooperstown, close by. But there is a story out there. I don't know if you've seen this. I got to dig in on it. About a boy that is a huge field hockey player. And outside the United States, field hockey is a sport that is played not just by females, but by males as well. And his school is not allowing him to play field hockey on the girls' team. There is no boys' team. But I would think that they would have to allow him, right?
I would think so. We've had a case here in our area. I wrote about it, and now I'm guessing, 10 years ago, maybe, at Holland Patton. He was a goalie. He played for the girls' field hockey team.
Okay, all right.
And he's probably, in my 30-plus years, the only boy I've ever written about that played field hockey. and I can't even remember his name now, but I'm positive he played goalie for Holland Patton girls field hockey team.
All right, Davey.
He was allowed to play.
He actually graduated with me in 1994. His name was Greg Crum.
Okay.
Aha, that's right. I knew his name was Greg, but I didn't want to throw it out there. Yeah. I forgot his last name, but yes, that's right.
And this
that's
story,
right. I wrote about him.
This story, I believe, has some tie to here, but it might be maybe in the Carolinas or something. So I'm assuming our state laws might be different than theirs, because in New York State, he'd be allowed to play, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I mean, like I said, we've had, I think there's been more than one example of it around the state, too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in Section 3. But Greg Crum's the one case that I remember writing about years ago. I wrote about, there was actually a football lineman, a girl who played football at Mount Markham, too. And actually, that story I wrote went on 1A. She was a lineman who actually played. She wasn't a backup.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
You see that more and more.
It is interesting to watch the. I don't want to say old timers, but people who've been in sports for a long time, whether it's officiating or coaching or whatever. I recently, maybe a couple of years ago, there was a girl wrestling, and I was speaking with somebody who was. Had been in the sport for a long time, and it was like, this is just destroying the sport. Can you believe there's a girl? There's a girl out there wrestling. And part of it is because the stigma still exists. Wrestling, of course, is different than football. But the stigma does exist where, if you beat a girl, you're going to be in trouble. If you lose to a girl, they're going to be making fun. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Like it's a
no-win situation.
No-win.
And, hey, let's face it, wrestling is more of a contact sport than any sport. So.
Right, and it's personal. It's a team sport, but long before a team sport, it's a one-on-one sport, and there's a no-win situation there, I guess.
Exactly.
Anyway, high school football. Do you have anybody else that you're looking at that might get some playoff action here? You think?
Oh yeah. I just wrote about Proctor and Notre Dame have both won 3 in a row. My guess is Notre Dame's going to end the regular season on a 4-game winning streak. They've got a great all-around dual-threat quarterback in Trajan Garrett, and they're on a roll right now, and Proctor's on a roll too, but I have to tell you, Proctor's senior day next Saturday at home will be against a Cicero North Syracuse team that's, I really think, could beat some college teams. They're that good. They just annihilated an unbeaten Baldwinsville team, 60-something to 31. I think they scored the last 30 points in that game this past Friday night, and that was they were 2 unbeaten Class AA teams.
Wow!
And that's who Proctor finishes the regular season with. But I just hope they get through that healthy, and because they've already qualified for the playoffs. Same thing with Notre Dame. Notre Dame can improve. I think their seeding Friday night they're at Oneida. That'll be one of the games I think will feature their regular season finale at Oneida. So that should be a good one. And I should mention, New Hartford ended their 4-game skid. They got a couple guys healthy. Joe Murray, a quarterback, Joe Kelly, the fullback and linebacker, played this past weekend, and they pretty much had their way with Camden on Friday night. So that was good to see them, finally get back in the win column. But I have to mention, I went to Sequoia Westmoreland on Saturday, and this Sequoia Valley team, if you like smash mouth football, if you like, turning back the clock, I've just added up. I've just added up the last 3 games. They've come from behind and won with a late fourth quarter touchdown 3 straight weeks. And in those 3 wins, 3 come from behind wins, they've actually completed just 2 passes and they've thrown 2 interceptions. But they do it with the running game with Garrett Evans, Ben Vanderpool, Ethan Martin, Liam Evans, the quarterback. I'm just impressed with how they've been able to get it done. You think about playing catch-up football in this day and age, and you think about wide-open spread offenses. These guys just keep pounding away and wear you down. I mean, Westmoreland was ahead for most of that game. They were up by 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, and Sequoia just kept pounding away. They got a huge offensive line. I think almost all of them are juniors. I think one kid's 6'1", 375, and I think they're all underclassmen up front. So. They've got it going right now. they've got an inside track to make the playoffs in Class D. But Class D is loaded. I mean, you've got Dowsville in the other division. In Syracuse area, Onondaga is very good. Bishop Ludden is outstanding. So Class D is going to be very interesting. You know, I'm gonna ask the Dowsville coach and players this week leading up to the West Canada game. You know, they haven't really been stressed. They haven't been tested.
Yeah.
Mount Markham gave them a game for a while early in the season, but since then, it's almost been maybe too easy for Dowsville. So that's what they're going to have to guard against. They haven't even been in a game in a long time.
Well, they might just on rivalry alone, they might get some of that this weekend when they play West Canada. So interesting. Yeah. All right, Ron, we appreciate it. By the way, hard to believe as we're going into the last weekend of regular season play in high school football.
Well, you know what? Next Sunday is the seeding meeting and the playoff pairings for every class except Class A because they got one more week of the regular season.
My point is, if you're
upon us in a hurry,
if you're covering the games, 70s on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and partly sunny. So hard to believe that we're still enjoying some warmer weather.
Hey, I was swatting away bees at Westmoreland on Saturday afternoon. So
crazy
in October. So
all right, Ron, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk again.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for not bringing up the Giants.
I was it was going to be my final question. I'm like, I'll go with the weather instead.
Well, you know, my wife and I saw that they were ahead 9-7, so I said, hey, Monica, I'm going to run to a local establishment that actually has NFL ticket because the Giants weren't on.
I know.
And so I went there, and then Eli throws an interception with 40 seconds to go, and I quickly got out of there. So, and then I go to Hannaford, and the guy behind the at the butcher shop, I'm picking up a piece of haddock or something. He goes, he sees my Giant hat and Giant shirt on, and he said, "Hey, your Giants finally won, huh?" And I said, "Are you trying to be funny?" He had been listening to radio updates in the back room there or something, and he said, "Yeah, they were leading." I go, no, they did not win. I thought he was trying to pull my leg. He thought they had won. So
and then,
anyway, that just added insult to injury.
And then Beckham, Junior.
Yeah, no pun intended with Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, can you play wide receiver for the Giants? They just lost 4 of them.
It was crazy when you look at that. I mean, that is, I'm ready. I'm going to suit up. I'm heading down. So
all right,
crazy. All right, Ron, we appreciate it. Ron Moshier, Utica,
thanks, guys.
utica.od.com. All the high school football, all the sports, all of that stuff from Ron, who is now the sports editor at the Observer-Dispatch.
I was just going to say, I'm almost glad that this is happening now. I'd hate to have the team be 4-1 and then you lose all your wide receivers in one game. At least they're 0-5, I guess.